So moving to the next section. In the next section, we shall be discussing the do's and the don'ts and the troubleshooting part. So if we have any business users on the call, please do not get worried about this because this is all technical in nature and this would be handled by the report developer or the report author in your organization. So you need not worry about it. So in the do's and the don'ts section, we shall be looking at some of the guidelines that we need to follow while building an active report. So the first guideline is keep your deck simple. Now the deck should include only the data which is unique to every card. Any sort of common information like common styling or if you have a static text, that should be placed outside the deck. It should not be placed inside the deck, because if it is placed inside the deck, that particular set of information will be repeated for every card. It will be applied to every card and it will increase the size of your active report. So always keep in mind that any common information should be placed outside the deck. So as you can see in the example on the slide, there are two decks which are available to us. The deck on the left hand side, which has been shaded in green, that has been, in this particular deck, formatting has been applied to a block, and the block then contains the data deck. Whereas on the other side, the one which has been marked in red, there we have the block which is placed inside the deck. So here the formatting information will get repeated. The net effect of both of these two decks would be exactly the same, but because of the second one, the file size will increase. Moving on to the next slide, which is use classes. So classes is a feature in Cognos Report Studio wherein author can basically define the styling elements, and once those styling elements have been defined, those styling elements can be applied to multiple objects. So you define your formats and your styling once and then you apply it multiple times. So again, this can also bring down the size of your active report, because whenever you're using a deck or a data deck, especially a data deck, depending upon the data, the cards will get generated, and if you're applying the formatting information to every card, the size will increase. So it's better to use classes so that you define your classes once and reuse those sets of classes, which will keep your file size down. So as we move on to the next slide says set your default values. Now default values, whenever applicable, those should be set, because the main important criteria here is that whenever your reporting application is loaded, the end user should see proper data with the desired context. So in order to demonstrate this, what I will do is I will open up an active report which does not set default values, so that you'll come to know why setting the default values is important. Let me just go through the file. Okay. Now this is again an active report, which is, I hope you guys can see the active report. I'll wait for about 5 seconds so that it appears. Okay, moving on. This particular active report presently has a data button bar. It gives me different buttons for each of the product line, and it also gives me a pie chart. But the issue over here is, looking at the pie chart, the user will not come to know whether this pie chart belongs to camping equipment or whether it belongs to golf equipment. So basically I cannot identify the context of the pie chart. It is only when I select golf equipment I will be shown the pie chart for golf equipment. So initially it is a gray area for the user. The user does not know what is the information he is looking at. Moving on to the next point, next guideline. Which is set sizes. Okay, whenever you're using a data deck or a deck, you need to keep in mind that not all the cards on the deck will be of the same size. And whenever you have a card which is of a different size that the user selects, other objects which are there on the active report will be moved to accommodate that particular card. And to the user, this this particular, it might appear to the user as if the objects are bouncing on the screen. So this is a very undesirable effect which can be avoided by setting the sizes. So all you need to do is to set the size for your charts or the objects, and you also need to set the size for your decks. Also, one more thing which is to be kept in mind is even list and crosstabs. Whenever you are filtering the list and the crosstab, the width of the columns of the list get readjusted depending upon the content. So you will also have to fix the list sizes, the column widths for the list, if you want to avoid this bouncing effect. The next guideline is set deck sizes. So in this particular, whenever you are using a deck, you need to make sure that you I'm sorry for that. You need to make sure that you set the sizes, especially if you're using an animation, because if you have not set, if you have enabled animation, there is a potential danger that that entire animation might swipe through the screen, which will again create an undesirable effect for the user. So I will again open up an active report, which will demonstrate why this particular property should be set always whenever animation is enabled. So let me just browse to that particular active report. Okay, I'll just wait for 5 seconds over here so that you get the active report in front of you. Okay, let's move on. So as you can see, in the active report, there is a data button bar. Again, it is a similar report. There is a data button bar and there is a pie chart. And depending upon the data button bar that we select, depending upon the product line we select, we will see the pie chart for it. So when I select golf equipment, there is a large swipe. I'm not sure if you have noticed this, but I'll do it one more time so that because of the network latency, let's hope that you did not miss out on that. So I'll select mountaineering equipment, and you will notice that the pie chart will swipe across the screen there. So in order to avoid this sort of a behavior, you need to make sure that you set the sizes for the deck. Moving on to the next point. Avoid nesting data containers. So again, this point is important, keeping in mind that you should always keep your active report as simple as possible. And you should not nest data containers within each other. So as you can see in this example, there are two different reports which have been created. The report on the left-hand side actually nests a data container within a data container. So you have a data deck for product line and you have a data deck for year. Now this particular data deck for year has been embedded within the data deck for product line. So make sure that you don't do this, because it will unnecessarily increase the number of decks that you're using and it will complicate the design. So always, whenever you face such a situation, always create one single deck with two different items. So instead of having two different decks over here, you can create the deck like the deck on the right hand side. Create one single deck for year and product line. The next design tip is to segment the deck. Now, as you can see on the slide, we have two different approaches. The approach on the left hand side is the segmentation approach, and the approach on the right hand side is the filtering approach. So we are kind of comparing these two approaches. So if you will notice the list on the right hand side, it is a huge list which has three different columns. It has your product line, it has product type, it has quantity. Now, if the user wants to filter out on let's say on the records for filter out all the records for product line camping equipment, then all of this will be performed in the interactive behavior area. So whenever you have opened up the report, all of this computation will actually happen on the report. So if your list is large, the time taken for this interactive behavior to respond can be more. So in order to instead of filtering such a huge list, it is always better to segment one single list into multiple lists. So right now the requirement is to filter out on the basis of product line. So as you can see on the left hand side figure, it has 5 different smaller lists. So these smaller lists will be created in the form of a card, and it will be shown to the user whenever the user selects a particular value, whenever the user selects a particular product line. So this approach, we have realized a lot of performance benefits from this approach, and the performance benefits are far more noticeable when you have a large list in place. So as the list grows, you will come to know that the filtering approach is getting slower, and this approach is really effective. So always keep in mind to segment your decks. The next slide is about layout component reference. So layout component reference, again, like classes, it is a feature in Report Studio which allows one single object which is there on the report to be shared, and it can be placed at multiple places. So if you will notice the report which is there on the slide, we have 2 similar looking reports. Actually, they are one and the same. They are exactly the same. We have 2 different charts which gives us the sales numbers for 2 different cities. So when the user selects Los Angeles, the first report gives us the number for Los Angeles, and the second report gives us the number for Boston. So these 2 charts are exactly the same. So instead of creating 2 different charts in the report, what a report author must do is to create one single chart and use a layout component reference, which will be a reference to the first chart which has been created. So this limits the duplication of object creation, and subsequently it will minimize your file size. The best part about this approach is your design changes will be very easy. So if you want to change something in the chart, you have only created one single object. You just have to change that particular object and all your references would be updated automatically. So need not worry about changing 10 objects if you have created 10 different objects. So this is a better approach in that sense. The next design tip is name controls and queries. This is more of a this is more from a maintainability and readability point of view. You will notice that as your report grows in functionality, you will add on objects to the report, and the default naming convention which is provided gets less and less meaningful. So under this circumstance, you should always look to rename your queries, give proper names to the queries so that someone who is maintaining the application can actually determine what is the purpose of the query or what is the purpose of a data button bar. So similar to naming your queries and controls, you should also name your variables. One convention that we use is prefix the variable name with a V or a VAR. So that way you can clearly identify that this is a variable in the report. The next design tip is to reuse the queries. Now, as you create your active report, as your active report grows in functionality, you will notice that the number of queries grow very quickly in an active report, because every time you drag and drop an object onto the report area, a new query is created. So in order to reduce the complexity, you should look out to minimize the number of queries, and one way of doing that is to reuse the queries. So wherever you have similar sort of data requirement, like the example that you can see on the slide, you have a data button bar and you have a data deck. Both of them need one single element, which is product line. So we can club the query for these 2 requirements, and we can just have one single query. So reuse your queries. It is better from a maintenance point of view. Alignment. Always set alignment because it is better for the end user experience, and there are 2 different alignments which Cognos offers. One is the horizontal alignment and another is the vertical alignment. One thing that you should keep in mind is that you should always align as close to the data as possible. For instance, if you're trying to center out a chart, if you want to place a chart at the center of the report, you will have to set the alignment properties to the table or to the block in which the chart is placed. Table and the block would form your basic building blocks when it comes to alignment. So table supports horizontal as well as vertical alignment, and your block supports only horizontal alignment. But the advantage of using the block is that it can handle overflow of data. So whenever if there is an object which if the size of the object increases, the block will be able to handle it by transforming itself into a scrollable area. So that's the advantage of using a block. The next design tip, which is not just relevant for active report, but for any sorts of report, for any of the standard reports as well on Cognos, is to test your queries. You should always test your queries before it is given to the user before the report is released to the user. And in active report, there is an additional debug menu which is provided, which can be invoked by pressing Ctrl+Shift+D and then right-click. So there is a specific debug menu that we will be looking at in the troubleshooting section. The next design tip is related to specifically to the iPad. So as Pratyush had discussed, that iPad resolution is 1024 by 768 pixels, and the report area which is available to us is 1024 by 704. So if you're looking to have reports which will be used on the iPad, you should always look to use these particular resolutions. So in order to achieve this, you will have to size your objects appropriately so that you can fit all your objects within these resolutions. So every individual object needs to be sized. Obviously, using iPad screen sizing improves end user experience because the user need not scroll to any other area. There will be no scrollable regions in the report, and all the information will be available to the user at one single go. So it's always better to have iPad resolution. Also, iPad resolution is consumable across multiple platforms. So this resolution transfers well on the desktop as well. So if you happen to use this resolution, the desktop reports would also just come out fine. Another iPad consideration is that you should remove the padding which has been set on the page body object. Now the page body object has a default padding of 2 pixels, so you should make it 0. Otherwise, if you have not made it 0 and if you have used iPad resolution, it will give you a small scrollable area. So to get rid of that scrollable area, you should always remove the padding. This section has other iPad design considerations like the scrollable regions. Now, if you have a report which is bigger than the size of the iPad, it will get into the scrollable area, and you will need to swipe to see the off-screen areas. So that can be a bit inconvenient at times, but your list box will be automatically replaced by your drop-down list on the iPad. So always keep this in mind, and don't be surprised if you have a list box which works well on the desktop, but it will obviously get transformed once you move it to the iPad. Now, the size of the touch region is also important to be considered. Now, Apple recommends a size of 44 pixels. This is a minimum recommendation that must be followed, because if this is not followed and if the size of the touch regions are small, then the user will find it really inconvenient to browse through the report and navigate and interact with the report. There is no equivalent swipeable deck on the desktop. So obviously the swipe feature is not available on the desktop, and under such circumstance you should always have a secondary control in place. So if you have a swipeable area, make sure that you have a secondary control like a button bar. So as you can see in the image, there is a dots indicator which is for swipe on the iPad, and there is also a button bar. So this button bar can be accessed by the users who are accessing